Galamsey na ochese we bia pono to hono amaneko bia o wadwenkyere a beboa me akọ Galamsey no fabra nemu abanda da ne de ne hye na ankoyie nti wo hono mountain for wadwenkyere ne nkoyie a wo monyintumo
independent power producers and penifo can be wom ewa honde ho nsemu asinkonwa na onumnyamfo John Jenapo chirim se beboa na save Ghana by $300 million.
And nebedi nkomo the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operation Secretariat dwumadi omne Blue Water Gas edino ne ho nkomo ne eba bedi Galamsey kono so mani abre pa ene ye ne de la adam bedi nkomo afa
we ene nsem dodo na bi ene betodwa ewo nondu kaseboyi eso akenkan for ye me Sadat Mohammed Mene
David Ofori Safo yebo era ensem no emo Grenada minor Prime Minister onmonyamfo Mitchell Dickin Thomas waba adwuma nsrahwe ewo my Ghana mu na akopie ewo Jubilee House ama Ghana mampani John Dramani Mahama ama no akwaba wono no edi enkomo say my Ghana ne Grenada bekoso edi nsawso sikasem afam ena amamre ntutie enso afam
MOU on trade, culture, and education. And my hope is that your visit will deepen that even further. We have the MOU on visa waiver for each other's citizens, which is in operation. We've had a few complaints of a few Grenadian citizens, who didn't have a very good experience, but we're asking the Foreign Ministry to sort it out so that we can fully implement the visa waiver for all categories of passports, diplomatic service and ordinary passports. Our two citizens should be able to travel freely between each other, and so it's something that we'll work on to make sure that is fully implemented. Ghana happens to be the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and that was a very historic trade agreement that was signed, and so far more than 50 countries have ratified it. And so it allows us to export duty-free and tariff-free into each other's markets. And I believe it becomes an opportunity for African and Caribbean businesses to invest together to take advantage of a 1.3 billion population market and with a GDP of more than 3 trillion. And so we must find ways and means of bringing the two business communities together to create further investments. And so we're happy to welcome you, and we always welcome your visits, and I look forward to the opportunity to pay a visit back to Grenada in order that we cement the relationship even further. So you're welcome again.
I want to express my deep appreciation for hosting me and my delegation. I appreciate you just came from China. It's an incredibly long way, and so for you to make time in your schedule to accommodate this visit is deeply appreciated. I want to start off right away by extending the reciprocity and by inviting Your Excellency to officially visit us in Grenada. I'm even tempted to propose the time. If your schedule will permit. The 1st of August is the day in which the British, at least in the British West Indies, finally accepted that the slave trade, and slavery in particular, was abhorrent and at least legally should come to an end. My government only this year re-emphasized by making the 1st of August a public holiday. Because prior to that it was being celebrated on the first Monday of August rather than on the day itself. And we felt we wanted our younger generation to appreciate the significance of the day and to make sure they understand why I sometimes say that that day marks the beginning, in a sense, of our nation, because you can't have a nation where one human being owns another human being. So the day is of profound significance, and if your schedule will permit, and because I think it is some significant lead time, we'd love to welcome you to be with us on that day, because I think it demonstrates, as I said, the deliberate bridge building, but also a significant reminder of our past and the importance of ensuring that future generations understand the struggle of Africans everywhere.
Grenada mpenifo BPM ewo my Ghana ne o mampanyina kache opanyina wo hwe amono ngita hudi hu nsem so de ma Grenada ene opanyina wo hwe Ghana so ya mono ne nsem so de wonsa hye ntiase apoma se be ma ho kwan ama anese fo free Ghana no akwakọ ye dwuma wo Grenada na Ghana ma mpanyina gina so a wo bo Ghana anese fo ba so chirim se so oman bi e papomde dwumayefo na wo ba be bo na pomde ho nsem wa Ghana ene obedi kan hwe ye kane enu nti no gina so na pomde dwumayefo na checherefo wa bomba so papa na odumanyamfo Deacon Thomas Michel opanyini ene ye Prime Minister Edema Grenada wonu so kasaye bo Ghana mpenfa ba so daya se ayankofa abeda oman mienu ntemu no behwe na wahye kenapa.
I'm pleased that just yesterday our Foreign Minister, the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, and Honorable Joseph Andal, Foreign Minister of Grenada, co-chaired the inaugural session of the Ghana-Grenada political consultations. I'm confident that this mechanism will produce practical outcomes that deepen political, economic, and cultural engagements between our two nations. Distinguished guests, the relationship between Ghana and Grenada exemplifies an excellent model of South-South cooperation. During my productive discussions with Prime Minister Michel earlier today, we mutually agreed on the importance of expanding our collaboration in key areas, particularly those that utilize our comparative advantages for mutual growth. In the health sector, Grenada's interest in recruiting Ghanaian nurses and allied health professionals presents a valuable opportunity for structured collaboration between our two countries. Ghanaian health workers have gained international recognition for their professionalism and their compassion. And we're keen to explore arrangements that address both our national needs and Grenada's health priorities. In education, we can develop partnerships through teacher exchanges, student mobility, and research collaboration. In agriculture, there's potential for collaboration in climate-resilient farming, food security, and agribusiness. In renewable energy, we can work together to promote cleaner and more affordable energy sources that align with our sustainable development goals. And in heritage and diaspora tourism, Ghana and Grenada can jointly promote cultural connections that honor our shared roots and provide economic opportunities for our people. However, one significant barrier continues to hinder our cooperation, and that is the lack of direct air connectivity between the Caribbean and Africa. Despite being only 6 hours apart by air travel between our regions can take nearly a full day, often routed through Europe or North America. This limitation restricts the movement of people, goods, and services between the Caribbean and Africa. We must collaborate to change this situation. Creating direct air links between Ghana and the Caribbean is not just a matter of convenience, but a strategic necessity. Such connectivity would unleash significant opportunities for trade, tourism, culture, and education between our people.
Yetwa ensem no eso Dr. Brian Echampo ni abre se MPP owetu Frank Amomo 2028 general election na nsen galamse ko no oda tudwa se ebeya nkaban nyi nefua aduokron 90 days ensu ho na nkomfa nyen hyehyɛ na galamse etuntwa ewo man emu na oka sansem no wie no na abrantia Mahmoud Abdul Kabore wono kasa de ma so afo hwe nsase ne obo ade ne paso ode atudwa akire se aban ote adwaso yi obi na prato ho no mo amanyuku awdo ewo man mu nyina obi abetimi na adwenkyere aba mom de akọ galamse nem abandada MPP amo transo 8 years amo ntimi anko galamse no se saa adwenkyere na no mo de bade a ene omo ntumunda.
So far, so very encouraging, because we are, she said, yes, stop the bleeding. Boja ne 2 years, mekanisa, kwaya na galamse fu aji aboso. Insu ano mugu ano se no. Nsu bi na ani wutwa mu a eya rehosem no. Ene ne nyina ehu nsensonso papa hyase efriba. Na wo hwe ba bia nsensonso no ba no a eye bia ya share okon no ko kese yesu ye hyase no. Eye bia ya yedi kan de ye ni kire ye. De kire nyina no se wo se ye bie hyehyɛ ya ye no mu. Ne yema no kom mea ya aka. Na nsensonso a ye nya no ebetumi nya no. Se in 2024 December na koduru River Manzule a Lembele minister na bobo ano a na odo nsa bom kura nye yie eso nda Manzule no duru ho a nikasem and then na no December untimi wura Jimra Forest mu untimi wura Fawo Hills mu untimi wura Official Tabet mu untimi wura Seneye untimi wura Densry mu and then nyina na o minor sagia forestry guards me go in and out kway routine checks and me the mensas me buaka say positive signs have begun to show on the wall and near my pabia shall see from mobile they hear and say a better ya shim near twom near shimokena nansun so pa ye hunini ebe hunu babia near faso yanya so emfasopa we say sabia so sabia kronto ehun dada nti na buakra me wo pa na dwo nya de wo hununtia na no ada no hyehyeye no anya papa ene wo sa de bre ya ye ntimi accept no kukula ye nsenka ye penhyehyeye pa de abo man no obi abaye sa de kro no a wo ka no amoa sabi mpeni se dambo nchen de wo ya de kro no an opensunsuanso foforo enti ye pensunsuanso foforo de ne wo so man no ye dane ye ho sanse mra dane no ho na enya sansunsuanso foforo we no so menya sure se hyehyeye a anadwe nkyira a mre se bedwane o gina mu ma de hye wa betifi owura ba champon na osra tu franka ma MPP no mnye so say ya adwenkyere papa betima boy sanse ya yebi anye ye aden na wose san repeat ya wose ye niam afofra ye na no so ye hwe sunso pai de bebre and yes we welcome all ideas from political divide but enya de ya atwamu a amfa so bi amre no de ye nsan ko ye chibio.
Ahone desoafo ene urumanyamfo John Abdullah Jinapo opinion wakasa de tuja so my Ghana ye independent power producers ya konkunyasie na mobeboa ma ya hone de ho nsem no akoyiye na san kunyasie abaso ye beboa ma Ghana ya service ka be ye $300 million wo de sanse na tuja wa bere kopie mu wo VR for akache wo nkan no chire mu sanse ya ne mpinifo akwa ni mu no enka ne aban no enifira asa ne waba woto aso ne mu obi nkogye na ba bi enye na manyosem sanse Ghana.
So far, this sector is experiencing some significant progress. We've negotiated with the IPPs, and based on the numbers I'm seeing, I'm confident that we can save a lot of money. And so far, what the IPP renegotiating team has done tells me that we are saving about $300 million from the IPPs. The previous administration did their bit. We've also come to improve on it, and that is what we ought to be doing. It's not always about politics. Let's sometimes put the nation's interest first. This year's budget is giving us $28 billion, not for investments, but to pay energy sector shortfalls. If it continues like that, next year will be $35 billion. If we don't stop it, what it means is that eventually energy sector shortfalls alone will consume the whole budget, and it's not sustainable. So I've been working with the team aggressively to turn around that unfortunate scenario so that eventually we can win the energy sector of the national budget. And from what we are paying, from the revenues we are generating, from the improvements that we are making, I can see that there's light at the end of the tunnel, even though there's more to be done. If we are taking a bold decision and decide that, look, the tariffs we are charging today, let's escrow those amounts into an account. We're talking of about $70 million every month, US dollars, $840 million every year, not cedis, times the number of years the IPPs have been operating. Don't you think that if we had escrowed this money, we could have built more thermal plants with VRA and sell the power at a cheaper price? But the reality is that sometimes we all pretend. So when we have VRA, we say that don't charge tariffs because it's VRA. So we pretend. But when it's IPPs, we are compelled to charge the tariffs. We are compelled to collect the money. So why can't we do the same with VRA and even charge half of what we are charging? And we'll still make it. The other thing is how we even do our energy architecture. When Mary was brought in, there was a lot of criticism. Fair. I mean, that is democratic. We can't all be perfect, and we'll continue to learn. But after 5-6 years, Mary has become the property of VRA. If we had done the same with the other plants, what it means is that every year or every 2 years, a plant will be transferred to VRA. A plant will be transferred to VRA. And before no time, we'll build the capacity of VRA.
Egusua was for her ahwanedie ensam so munyanfo John Abdullahi Jinapo wakodwuman srawe ewo ECG na ose NPP apen so won be di ECG anim no wo mo amwa o my Ghana kra wo apen so ECG e de contract bi ano esombo 9 billion Ghana cedis ekomai enkrata mu no na board sabre no o ECG emu no womo agi 3 billion Ghana cedis pe ena agi amaji atumu and 6 billion Ghana cedis no board na anya ntumu nso de ma contract.
If ECG was your company and you were the shareholder and you invested money in it and your management came to tell you that they've awarded contracts about 9 billion when the board approved contracts for just about 3 billion. And you can check from the records. You are given a threshold at the board of 3 billion and you end up spending about 9 billion. And it's not as if you spend 9 billion. You've given contracts so much so that the containers, when they get to the port, you don't even have money to clear the containers. So one, you are incurring cost of 9 billion. 2, you are not using the items because they are stuck at the ports. 3, you are paying demurrage for the containers stuck at the port. So as minister, I've had to work extra hard with the other stakeholders. And I want to thank the GAPOHA staff, the chief executive, and to thank the national security coordinator and his staff. And thank the chief of staff, Madam Valerie Sawyer and co, for helping us to move those containers. It's been a very, very difficult task. But like I said, we should never go that path again. And as minister, I will not tolerate that. If it happened in the past, it must not happen today. We funded the full document to the Attorney General. He's studying it. And if people are found culpable, I'm very confident that the law will take its course. We are not victimizing anybody. We are doing what is right and what is proper. The taxpayers' money must be accounted for. From January to date, we've made very good, significant progress, and I want to thank you, MD. I want to thank your management. I want to thank you, the staff, for that significant, monumental progress you are making. And it shows in the delivery of power. You can't dribble the people of Ghana. At the end of the day, the power sector is like pregnancy. It will show. And everybody can attest that there have been some significant improvement. But there's more to be done.
We have also worked very hard to ensure fiscal discipline and avoiding unnecessary expenditure. We have worked to improve operational efficiency through the use of context-relevant technology. Technology used properly.
Mpenufo da Ghana isika krabia Batan Bank of Ghana no edi tu sika krabia nkuma anim se wommoa eba mpuntuo enkanko ne mpatamu yiyo na oman Ghana mfa ne ntoma pa emfemfere okire mu se obi ba won chen se opesika na wo de akotufu magudie kwampa so wo se mutime bua sa nipa no se na ebe na wonfa ekomani bre enkonko ye illegal mining penyini di sanse na tudwa wabra kodi nhyamu sunku bi ehye so na deputy governor Edema Bank of Ghana Mame Matilda Asante Asiedu enegina mpenufo na mu a okasaye.
As we start the conversations, we should also begin to think beyond quarterly results, beyond annual financials, and begin to think about sustainability, begin to think about our environment. Because the reality is that the two can actually go together. If we're lending to the right people, making sure that we're following the right processes, the right rules, it's possible to still make profit, support industry, support the economy, but also keep ourselves healthy. And it's important that we, being here today, also are judged positively and favorably by posterity. And so as we start the conversations, I want us to pay attention to the impact. You may not be drinking the water that they are drinking in the village, but I'm sure you eat the gari. I'm sure that you eat the vegetables they grow. I'm sure that the favorite tilapia that we all like to eat with banku or whatever your preference is also comes from some source which could be contaminated. And so I want us to think beyond the bottom line, or think in spite of the bottom line, and see how we can achieve the bottom line but achieve it sustainably.
From land acquisition issues to labor and working conditions, to social impacts and impacts on the community, to resource depletion and environmental degradation. It is important that we recognize these issues and approach them constructively. It is also vital that we recognize the role that financial institutions must play in shaping and influencing the extractive sector through its lending activities. In Ghana, thanks to the Ghana Sustainable Banking Principles, banks have integrated ENS risk as a fundamental credit risk. Within the bank's extractives portfolio, what this means is that projects need to be screened for compliance with environmental laws and industry best practice. And projects are also required to show that there have been proper community engagement and consultations.
GAB will intensify our collaboration with our regulator and development partners to build a dual capacity framework, one that strengthens ESG competencies within banks and enhances compliance readiness within the extractive sector themselves. Only then can we achieve inclusive sustainability and prevent the sector from becoming a low-tier system of ESG leaders and ESG laggards. In closing, the future of Ghana's extractive sector depends on how we manage this transition. We must balance the drive for economic growth with the duty of care to the environment.
There's a growing demand for minerals and other resources to enhance our economy and society. However, we must ensure that it is done in an environmentally sound manner to minimize degradation by utilizing the planning and decision-making tool that is environmental assessment.
Ena brebe ma yekwan na kasebo no yedi esi kasebo no esi no ekwan mu atene David Oforisafo ene mpenifo besi nkonwa na wadi Ghana nkomonyi wa fidie ni mfiri ha yetwe ho abasisi ya